We begin with the president's pick for the Supreme Court. President Trump nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett to take the seat of the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The nomination kicks off an effort by the White House to put Barrett on the bench before Election Day. Skyler Henry has more from the White House.
President Trump introduced Judge Amy Coney Barrett as his choice for the Supreme Court during a Rose Garden ceremony at the White House Saturday.
She is a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution.
I pledge to discharge the responsibilities of this job to the very best of my ability. I love the United States, and I love the United States Constitution.
If Barrett is confirmed by the Senate, the 48-year-old who now sits on the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals would become the youngest associate justice on the current Supreme Court. Barrett's conservative legal views stand in sharp contrast to the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a liberal icon whose seat Barrett would fill. Challenges to the Affordable Care Act and Roe v. Wade could come into play. With fewer than 40 days left before the November election, Senate Republicans face a tight time frame for pushing through the nomination.
I am supremely confident that Judge Barrett will issue rulings based solely upon a fair reading of the law.
The president's selection of Barrett comes over Democratic objections that the pick should come from the winner of the November election.
They are violating the essence of what the founders thought, that the voters should have a chance to have a say. The election has already begun.
Barrett would be President Trump's third Supreme Court appointment, following Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. That would leave conservatives with 6 of 9 seats on the nation's highest court. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
In Wilmington, Delaware, Joe Biden paid tribute to the late Supreme Court justice. He slammed President Trump for denying Ginsburg's dying wish that her replacement be selected by the next president. Biden said the Supreme Court pick is about stripping away the Affordable Care Act in the middle of a pandemic.
I am not, and I know you're going to be upset with my answer, but what I'm not going to do is play the Trump game, which is a good game he plays. Take your eye off the issue before us. If I were to say yes or no to that, that becomes a big issue. That's the headline here. I am focused on one thing right now, and I really mean it. I'm focused on making sure the American people understand that they're being cut out of this process they're entitled to be part of. And the cutout is designed in order to take away the ACA and your health care in the midst of a pandemic. That's the focus, that's what it's on, and that's the deal.
For more on this, CBS News correspondent Nikole Killion joins us all from the White House. Hey there, Nikole. On Face the Nation, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said senators will be getting information on Judge Amy Coney Barrett's credentials as early as Monday. Where does the nomination battle rank in the White House's priority list right now?
Well, it's certainly very high on the priority list. And as we've mentioned before, certainly the president has indicated that he would like to see Amy Coney Barrett confirmed to the high court before the election, if possible, although he has suggested some wiggle room. They're saying it could happen before or after the election. As you mentioned, Mark Meadows was on Face the Nation earlier today, where he said that the White House will start providing information to senators tomorrow, that he expects they'll be up on the Hill Tuesday. And we do know the White House has been reaching out to senators to start setting up meetings with Judge Barrett, which again could start as early as this week. And we know that both the White House and Senate Republicans are pushing a very tight timetable. Senate Judiciary Chairman Lindsey Graham has indicated that the confirmation hearings could get underway the week of October 12th with opening statements, possibly a day or two for questioning and witnesses. And then he intends to move this out of committee before the end of October so that it could be potentially teed up for a vote.
A Supreme Court with Barrett on it could actually mean the end of the Affordable Care Act, according to Biden. He's saying that is, in essence, the president trying to take away health care in the middle of the pandemic in that clip that we just heard. So, Nikole, how is the White House trying to defend themselves against that messaging?
Well, that is certainly the messaging coming from Democrats and the former vice president. And as far as the White House, the president put out a tweet earlier today where he talked about the Affordable Care Act, saying that it could possibly be replaced with a better, far cheaper alternative if it is, in fact, terminated by the Supreme Court. Of course, the ACA is in jeopardy. We know that's one of the first cases the high court will take up right after the election. So whether that seat is filled or not, it certainly could be in limbo depending on how things play out. And so that is the argument that you are hearing Joe Biden make, is that, certainly if Barrett is confirmed to the court, given her past positions on the ACA, that potentially it could be overturned. And you hear the president saying that if in fact that is the case, we're going to be providing a better alternative. And that is something that Republicans and the president have been arguing for some time now, with the president trying to put forth his own health care plan as a potential replacement.
As a judge, I would decide cases.
All right, Nikole, the first debate is Tuesday night. I'm sure that discussions about health care are going to be among the topics. What else do you think that they will be discussing, and how is the president preparing?
Well, as far as the debate, you're right. It's right up on us. And so we do know that this will take place Tuesday night in Cleveland. As far as the president is concerned, he said in an interview earlier today that he prepares every day, though he didn't really offer many specifics. So we do know overall that the Trump campaign is painting former Vice President Joe Biden as a master debater as far as trying to set expectations. As far as Joe Biden is concerned, we do know that he has been taking some time off the trail, that he really started preparing in earnest for this debate late last week, and again has been pretty quiet over the weekend beyond the statement that he made on the Supreme Court earlier today. But certainly both candidates say they are prepared, that they are ready. And of course, we'll see what happens Tuesday night.
Absolutely. Nikole Killion, thank you.
You bet.